Hi, everyone. Welcome to Morbid Planet. I'm your host, Erin Chapman. Tonight, our guest wears many hats. I've had the pleasure of knowing her for a number of years now. She owns Boutique de Vampire and New Orleans Vampire Cafe, plus a vampire private speakeasy called Potions. She is also an author and dedicates a lot of her time to local dog rescues. So if you could give a warm welcome to Marita Crandle. Welcome. Thank you for coming on. So glad to have you. I've been so waiting to talk to you for so long, and I know you're so busy all the time. So thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. And before we start, everyone, I just want to remind you guys all to make sure to like this video and also subscribe, hit the little button below. And otherwise, let's get into it. So there's a lot of things that I do want to talk about with you tonight. There's different things like our viewers, a lot of them don't know about all the things that you do. So I was going to say, do you want to start off and just tell us a little bit like about your businesses? Because you have your shop, you have the speakeasy, you now have the cafe, and basically just like your kind of experiences that someone could have at each of those locations.
Oh, sure. Okay. So yeah, I opened up Boutique de Vampire 19 years ago, and it's really strange. All of the businesses that I opened, coincidentally, I opened on New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm.
Complete coincidence. Even the first one, it just worked out, you know, with when I got the keys and when it worked out. So we opened that one 19 years ago, and it's really a neat place. It's more of a gift gallery. We have about 130 artists that make things just for us, and we actually make a lot of our own products there as well. I have really talented people that work with us, and so when people come in, they want to linger, you know, and we find that many customers come back every day of their vacation, and it's really great for us. And also it's fun because we send them other places in town, and we kind of experience their trip with them.
Yeah.
So that's thinking about the speakeasy, to give people a place where they can linger and have a drink and, you know, continue their vacation in a magical realm. So that's why I opened up Potions 5 years ago. And then again with the cafe, you know, there's a lot of younger people that come into town that are vampire enthusiasts, and there's really nowhere for them to go after they take a ghost tour. So the cafe is right attached to my shop. And when it became available during COVID, I just jumped at it, and I'm so glad I did. It's been amazing. It's just been so amazing. The customers that we have are so appreciative, and our chef is outstanding. I get him here through the marketing, but he keeps them coming back. We have so many customers that come, you know, for lunch one day, and then they'll come back for dinner, have the same exact thing they had for lunch, and then I find breakfast the next morning. It's crazy. It's really great.
Well, and just the fact that that opened and it was so close to you guys, like that's just meant to be, I think.
Yeah. And now I'm looking at a Vampire Inn that's 1 block away. So we would have like a place where people could actually do our adventures. Right now, I've either put them up at the Place des Armes for our vampire adventures, or they have their own hotel. And it would be really cool to have a little New Orleans Vampire Inn where we could, you know, really keep the whole experience moving for them. So
you could, and it'd just be like everything under one umbrella for people. That would be amazing.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Keep your fingers crossed for me.
Yeah, I know at some point I would love to come down there, but COVID's just made everything so just freaking complicated. So otherwise I would at some point. Yeah.
And so also, yeah, I've really been focusing on my writing. I kind of put it on the back burner for the restaurant, but I was editing all day today, and I'm hoping that my novel will come out next year, early next year. It's called The Carter Brothers, which is one of our legends that I wrote about in the New Orleans Vampire history book. So I actually wrote 2 history books in preparation for the novel, the Vampire one and the Josiearlington one.
Oh, it's upside down.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's okay.
Arlington, the life and times of a New Orleans madam, and she is the love interest of Wayne Carter in my novel, and I'm very excited for that to come out.
Yay! You have so many things going on. It's so exciting.
I do.
I actually have a copy of that book here, which I'm going to get into later and show some people because I love this one that you sent me. It came so packaged beautifully.
Thank you.
Now, just because a lot of people as well, and one of the things I don't know about you, have you always lived in New Orleans, or can you tell me about your adventure on how you came to be in New Orleans?
Yes. So I'm from Germany. I was born in Munich, and my parents moved to California a couple different times. But I ended up, went to high school there and everything,
Yeah.
and we spent all of our summers in Germany. So most of my family's still in Germany, but I do have family over here as well. And then I was an executive in California, and I came to New Orleans on business, and I
Hmm.
literally just couldn't believe it existed. And I remember my parents took me to Disneyland several times, and I always was so fascinated with Pirates of the Caribbean, and I wanted to escape and live there. So when I really when I set foot in the French Quarter, I kind of felt like that's what it was. And
Yeah.
I ended up being sick every time I left here. So I finally got a little apartment on one of my trips,
Aw.
and on my way I did a marketing plan for Vampire Wine to bring Vampire Wine to New Orleans because I'd seen it in California, but I'd never seen it here.
Hmm.
And I've been working with Michael ever since. And so I helped invent. I actually invented Fangria, which is a sangria we import from Spain.
Yes.
I helped him with Vampire Vodka and a bunch of different products. And so we've been working really closely together ever since I moved here 20 years ago.
Wow. Okay. And there is obviously definitely like a vampire theme everywhere for all the things that you do. How did this come about? Have you been into vampires since like you were a kid?
So, I mean, I've always liked vampires, and it was always
Hmm.
kind of my go-to costume because it's, they're dangerous, but you can still look pretty, and I just always liked the character, the
Yeah.
monster. And so, when I moved here, though, it was more that I saw a niche. I was trying to find a way to move here, and what I could do, and so that's when I thought of Vampire Vineyards. And then I
Hmm.
thought, you know what, it would be really cool for the city to have a little vampire shop, and I really
Yeah.
wanted it to be off the beaten path, and I create this illusion that when you walk in, you're not 100% sure that vampires don't really run this shop or shop there. You know,
Yeah.
so that's kind of what I was going for, and it's been really, really fun. I mean, every day is fun. It really is.
That's so cool. And I know that you, as you were talking about, you have a marketing background. Do you find that just kind of everything that you've done at this point for your career and the journey with the shop and the speakeasy and the cafe and everything, did your marketing background, did that influence it more? Or do you find that it just kind of enhanced and helped you with things along the way?
I think it's funny you say that because last night I was at Potions and there was a mother and father up there with their son who's going to Tulane University.
Okay.
And they were asking me that. And, I mean, I have a very strong marketing background and it definitely has helped me with the things I do here. But I think also it's a lot about creating the experience for the customers, and that's always in the back of my head. And I mean, I guess that is a marketing tactic,
Yeah.
but I think that helps drive a lot of my product. And what makes all the different businesses successful is because ultimately I have the like at heart what people really want to experience here. And so, but yeah, I mean, definitely my marketing background has, helped with every single one of the businesses for sure. Yes.
Okay. And I know that one of the questions you just touched on earlier about the wine was I know that your shop and your cafe promote the vampire and Dracula wine products. And that's why I was just going to ask, is it more of a partnership or affiliation, or are you like part of the company, or do you just kind of work together with everything?
We just kind of work together. I mean, now and then, I've actually worked on projects for Michael and we're compensated for that. But mostly we've done a lot of things gratis for each other. And he was just here visiting not that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
See the cafe. And yeah, we've had a really neat relationship. And, just like during COVID, I did a whole what's it called, a wine club for him, and we haven't
Okay.
that yet. He does have one that I did a long time ago, but the new one is really spectacular. And I just did that because I had some time and just wanted to give him a present. So yeah, no, but we aren't really tied together in any business sense. We just help each other.
Okay. And at the shop, I know that you feature items by, I think it was over about 130 local artists. What kind of items does this include? And do you actually like go out and recruit people, or just like due to the popularity of the shop, do you find people just gravitate towards you guys?
Yes. So, yeah, we have, I mean, a lot of really talented people, and they have gravitated towards us. I have, I mean, now and then I'll be somewhere and I'll see something and I'll, like we went to California and Memento Mori is a little shop out there. And so they're kind of family now, and we don't really share product, but we promote each other. But no, the artists, usually they come to New Orleans on vacation and they find our shop, and then they'll say like, hey, I make this and this, and then we'll be interested. Like Renee from Sweet Midnight is the perfect example. She came in
Mhm.
wearing one of her adorable little coffin backpacks, and my husband's like, wow, where'd you get that? My makeup. So that's been the majority of people either walking into the shop or contacting us by email, but not so much. It's mostly people that have actually come here and, approached us personally.
Okay. Okay. And one of the cool things that your shop offers is you guys do custom fangs. Can you tell us about this process and what it costs? And do people need to make an appointment? And how does that whole thing just work? Because I know a lot of people are always interested in that, not just at Halloween. So.
Yeah, it's really a neat service. So Maven is our fangsmith, and what's neat about it is a lot of times people think it's going to take a long time to get their fangs, but they
Mhm.
actually come in, and we have a little fang station in the back, and they sit there, and it takes about a half an hour, and they
Oh,
leave with one, and it's amazing, and they're really, really good quality. My husband has some, and I luckily have my own fangs I was born with,
yes,
but
you do.
he's had them for like 18, well, about 17 years now, and they're still the same fangs, and they still look amazing. So Maven does a really great job, and they're $200 for a set.
Okay.
Teeth, and it goes up, every two teeth are like 200. I think it goes down a little bit for the second set, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. No, that's really cool because I know a lot of people that I've talked to do it like online, and then you've got to get the impressions and then you send it away and then they send it back. And but the fact that you guys can actually like part of again the whole experience, just walk in and get that. That's great.
We do also do it through the mail as well, though. So if you're not in the
Oh, okay.
you can do it through the mail.
Okay. And speaking of fangs, because I know we can see yours there, a lot of people would ask, and I know that they're your teeth, they're not fake ones. You were born with them.
That was.
Do you get a lot of, for the businesses that you run and you operate, you must get a lot of weird comments, or do you have any like interesting stories where people ask you about them and then you're just like, no, these are legit?
Yeah, some people don't believe me. And actually, it's really funny because nobody ever talked about it until about maybe 3 years into me owning the business. I
Yeah.
was somewhere and a tour guide mentioned my teeth, and I thought, oh my God, it was the first time it ever dawned on me that all these people probably think that I filed my teeth down or that I took it seriously on every single day. I put these in or something, and it was a little embarrassing for me for a moment. But no, they're just my teeth. And I think some people really would love to believe that I'm a vampire. And so they,
Yes.
yeah. And that, so who knows?
It's a perfect fit, and it just goes with the whole image and everything that you guys have with all the businesses. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out because I know people watching are going to be like, are those hers? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. And in the shop, I believe, I remember, I think it was last year or something, I saw postings that you have some interesting items on display from like some popular shows. I think you had some stuff from True Blood. Can you elaborate on those and let everyone know what you guys have there? Because I am a very big True Blood fan. I love that show.
Yes. So we actually did a lot of work with True Blood, with just props and things. And then
Mm-hmm.
actually Renee from Sweet Midnight has a friend, Cupcake, who works on the sets or had worked on the sets a lot, and he
Okay.
was able to secure Eric's crossbow for me, which
Ooh.
was just I'm so happy about. And then also they got Vampire Bill's coffin for me, and some of Vampire
Oh.
ashes from when Suki actually staked him. So those are big coups for us, and we have those in the shop. And then Vampire Diaries, this was a really cool one. The writers came to me before they started the originals and asked about storylines. And
Mm-hmm.
so she followed my historical information very closely, and they used the Casket Girls for episode 10, and they bought journals from us. We have leather journals with handmade paper, and voodoo dolls and some vervain, and so it's really cool. We don't have anything commercial in the shop, but
Yeah.
we Of all the things, obviously, that the film companies have bought from us. Twilight was another really neat one. I designed a necklace that was for myself to wear to one of the vampire balls, and it was at the bottom of our glass cabinet with the receipts of the other ones. It was chainmail done by a gentleman named Devo.
Okay.
So excited to have it. Well, my husband was working and he was all excited because it was expensive. It was $350.
Yeah.
And he said, guess what? I sold your necklace, and the necklace. And I'm like, what? I was so angry, right? And so I couldn't believe he did it. And so then about 2 weeks later, the buyer came in and said that the costume designer was crazy about it, but in order to put it in the show, they had to have another one. So we quickly had Debo make another one, and it was all over the billboards. It was amazing, and it was supposed to be given to the girl when the New Orleans vampire Garrett, he touched fingers with the girl.
Yeah.
Going to give it to her, so it would have been a bigger part, and probably bigger space for us. But that it was cut out of the movie, unfortunately. But yeah, we have that, and gosh, the librarian, the movie, so many different,
I wonder if your necklace made it into their museum that they have up there in Forks. So in Forks, it was a couple years ago, because I've gone to Forks and actually interviewed like the mayor and stuff. It was really fun. But a couple of years after I went there, they actually ended up doing like this museum locally. And what was in the museum was a lot of the props and the clothing.
That's very
so yeah, I'm wondering if your necklace made it into their museum.
Yeah, if you look at the posters for the fifth movie, the last movie, you'll see a Garrett wearing it, and I mean it's just right there. It's this big, beautiful chainmail necklace, so it's very possible that it's there. Yes.
Cool. Okay. Then basically this goes back to what we were just talking about, then having your businesses located in the heart of New Orleans. I'm sure you've been involved then with some other film projects or TV projects. Can you, besides coming in and them getting props, have you any experiences that you could tell us about where you guys were actually involved in the filming? And are you guys going to be part of the new Vampire Chronicles that is coming up as well? Have you heard anything about that?
Yes. So they didn't actually film in our shops at all. When they filmed, they filmed on Bourbon Street, like a small part of it, and some actors came in afterwards, which was pretty cool. But yeah, the shop hasn't actually been in a movie, and I think that's because really, if they're filming a vampire movie, vampires aren't supposed to be known about, and so that's why they kind of avoid us. But with the Interview the Vampire, they have contacted us, and I have a friend who came and saw me, and he says, well, you have to be in it. So hopefully that's going to work out. I'm really excited about that. I don't know to what extent or what they have in store for me, but I would love to do that for sure.
That's so cool. I hope that does work out. That'd be exciting. And I think I'm trying to remember, were you in a documentary as well? Was it last year or the year before?
So I've been in many. So I was on with what's his name, William Shatner, The Unexplained.
Okay.
About Saint Germain primarily. I was in the one, oh gosh, and now I don't remember the name of the show.
That's okay.
It was a good show too. It was it was an actual investigator in Los Angeles who investigates unusual things for clients. And she had a client who really wanted to know about also Saint Germain actually. And that was a really fun one. And then we were on the show Shipping Wars. So
yes, that's right. Yeah, I remember that. That was really cool.
That was fun. They keep doing replays of that one. And then there's more, and I just can't think of them all. Gosh, there were some that were filmed at Potions.
Yeah.
One was a dating show. I don't know, but there's been so many. But it's
That's
fun.
okay.
I love doing it.
It's a cool bonus with everything that you guys do, just having people approach you and everything like that. So yeah, it's part of your fun. So now I just wanted to change gears a little bit. I know that you're a successful entrepreneur, obviously, but many people might not know that you're an author. So most people that I've talked to in their life, they seem to have like an aha moment when something just pops to them. What was your aha moment when you decided to start writing? And can you tell me about that?
So I really have been writing my entire life. that's what I've done. I've had magazine articles. When I was working in Los Angeles, I had a column called Workout Watcher where I interviewed, I participated in different really unusual workouts and then wrote about them. I was a writer for the Beverly Hills Courier newspaper, pretty much right out of college. That was my real first job. And so I just had never written a book. And so I was working on a novel, The Carter Brothers, when I was contacted by History Press to see if I would submit a proposal for a historical vampire book about our legends here in the French Quarter. And I mean, that was a no-brainer. I definitely said, of course, I'll do that. And luckily they accepted my proposal. And they were so wonderful to work with, and it was such a good experience for me. So I think that would be my aha moment, and that now I know what it really takes to write a book, you know.
Yeah.
Because I was working on, I've written screenplays, and I was kind of writing the book in screenplay fashion, and
Okay.
very different than that. So having a schedule, a very tight schedule with the editor, with the publisher, was very good for me. And you know, just I guess knowing that when I submitted my proposal, how impressed they were, that was really important to me and made me realize that, yeah, I really am an author. I'm just not a magazine writer. I'm, you know, I can do this. So,
Yeah.
I guess that would be it.
No, that's cool. And I believe, was the New Orleans Vampires, was that your first one then that was published? First book?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had already written Johnny White's Sports Bar, the tiny joint that never closed, but it was called Drinking Mistakes. And I worked as a bartender on Bourbon Street for 11 years. And the book was about all the drinks that I made that were mistakes that I drank, and all the lessons I learned while doing that. And they wanted to change the name though, because they wanted it to be more historical about the bar and about the people that live here. So it's called Johnny White's Sports Bar, the tiny joint that never closed until it did. And I wrote that. I'd written most of that before I wrote the vampire book. But again, I didn't really know how to write a book. And so once I did the vampire book, then I did a proposal for that book, and luckily they agreed. And so then it became my second book, and then the third book was Josie. Yeah.
Nice. And so I just wanted to show your book. So just for people who haven't seen it, when it was released, this was an amazing package that it came in, and it's a lovely leather bound cover. And when you open it, there were a bunch of goodies, which I still kept in here, so I didn't lose them. So I don't know if everyone can see, it actually came with, I've still got that. Can you tell us about the little package? What kind of influenced you to put this all together?
So I really wanted the book to be like a document that you're reading, like it's a secret document that you came across, you know, and like, because I really think the information is fascinating. The research was really interesting. It took me a year to do it. And I'm one of the few people in the world that's had a private tour of the Ursuline Convent attic, and they wouldn't let me publish all that in the book. So if you go to my research tab on my website, which we'll share later, I have my whole experience in that day, and it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. It really was. It was fascinating. So the research was great, but I really wanted, people to feel like they were reading this secret document. So that's why I thought about the leather cover and the nail, you know, or an attic from the convent, and then I published the little story from the attic and sealed it with wax.
Yeah, I know that was an amazing, touch when you open it up, and I don't know if everyone can quite see, but it's really cool. I liked it. It was a nice little package to get.
Thank you. And I think that's part of it. Like, my next book, when it comes out, I'm really excited about this. And it was writing the Carter Brothers book was also just a crazy experience, because doors kept opening up for me that were so magical. And I'm just going to tell you one of them, because this one's part of the book release, and it's going to be amazing. So my assistant, Anne Guthrie, she posts on my Facebook page for me and stuff. And one day she posted something about a 4-edge painting, and I'd never seen. So 4-edge painting is when you have gilded edges of a book that are, it says gold pages, and you can fan them out, and then there's actually a painting on the, only when the book is fanned out.
Oh, I've seen something like that, and it was really cool.
It's amazing. So there's a watercolor. So I thought, wow, I want my first, like 100 copies to come with this. Well, it's impossible. It's a one-time thing. It's a one piece of artwork. So I started researching it, and I found out there's only one professional 4-edge painter in the world right now, and his name's Martin Frost, and he's in England. So I tried to contact him. Every email I found for him bounced right back to me. And it was about a month I was looking for him. I could not find him. So I was sitting in my office and I thought, Marita, how can you find this guy? Think, think, think. And finally I thought, well, I have one friend in England.
Yeah.
Older, and she said, oh, Martin Frost, he used to live across the street from me. This worked for my father. Hang on. And he called me right back, and he's going to do the 4-H painting. So I don't know how many copies there'll be, maybe 2,000 on the hardbacks, for 5,000. I don't know how many they're going to do, but they'll have the gilded edges. And when you buy the book, everybody who buys the first edition hardbacks, their name will be put in a drawing, and they will get that book. But then one person is going to get the book with the 4-H painting, which has to do with the story of the book. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And when is this? Probably next year, you think?
Yeah, I'm really hoping it'll probably be mid next year.
Okay, cool.
My editor, well, an agent that I really wanted, she said that I really had to take a lot of characters out, and so that's what I've been doing. It's really hard, but I've done it, and now I'm just moving everything out. So I say another month, and I'll be done with the edits, and I'll get it back to her. And then
yay! I'm so excited for you. I'll have to get a copy of that when it comes out. It'd be amazing. And I was looking on your website as well, and we already talked about the Johnny White Sports Bar. So tell us a little bit more about Josiearlington's Storyville. Can you tell me about that one?
Josie is an amazing person, or was, and like I said, I just fell in love with her, and I'm so glad that my publisher agreed to do a book about her. But I wanted a love interest for Wayne, and she's the perfect one because she was a really strong woman. And if you follow my book, I mean, if you read my book, it is very accurate with historical fiction. So I'm really proud of that too, and some really amazing things that you'll find out about the city that, I mean, I didn't know, before I started doing all the research. But as I was writing about it, I found out about her niece, who she took care of her whole life, and she never wanted her niece to know that she was a madam. So she hid it from her whole life, and she sent her to Paris to school, and really doted over her. And then when she was in 1911, she had a tomb built for herself, and it's beautiful rose marble, and there's a beautiful statue in the front that's bronze. And she died in 1914.
Okay.
And a year and a day after she passed away, when it's legal to move a body here, they sold the last bit of money that she had and took the tomb out from underneath her and put her in an unmarked grave. So Anna used the money. She also married Josie's lover a week after Josie died. I mean, it's just crazy, the whole story. So I was doing all the research, and I found the original tombs at Tulane University, and I had already made contact with her family. And I thought, it was a rainy day, I'll never forget this. And I started crying. And I'm like, I've got to put that woman back in her tomb. So I thought maybe that's not possible at all, and I'll build a new tomb that looks just like it for her. So anyway, it turns out that all the family on Josie's side is very excited about putting her back in her tomb, but we couldn't find any of the family that was alive still that owned the tomb. Everybody, like the last person passed away not that long ago, 2011, I think.
Okay.
I was on the news about it, and during COVID, apparently they reran this news spot, and somebody there, the niece of the gentleman who owns the tomb, saw it and said, hey, this woman's looking for us. And so now they're very excited also to have Josie put back in her tomb. We're just fighting the cemetery at the moment, but we're going to win. So pretty soon Josie will be back where she belongs.
That's such a cool story.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then, I mean, I have a lot of writing that it's not all supernatural. I have a thriller that I'm working on called Eavesdrop that's about a court stenographer who gets involved in the case, and it's pretty chilling. And then I have another one. It's a werewolf book called The Mystic of Scaries.
Okay.
Scaries, Ireland, and it's a pretty traditional werewolf book about or story. It has a lot to do with travelers, Irish travelers, gypsies, and the true legend of werewolves. And so it's kind of on the tune of it, or the tone of it is kind of on the line of practical magic, and it's a really fun book. So watch for that one too.
Yay. Yeah, we'll have to have you back again when some of your books come out, because it sounds like you got a lot of stuff going on with those. And besides then when you're not doing like all of these projects, I know another passion of yours is rescuing dogs, which I think is just amazing that you do that, because I'm an animal lover. Any types of animals, I love them. I think on your site it says you've rescued over 650 at this point. And do you work with an organization or a charity, or how did you get into this?
So I did a dog calendar for Johnny White Sports Bar of all the dogs that frequented the bar.
Yeah.
And I donated the money to the SPCA. And then I found out that only 7 cents of the dollar actually goes to the dogs.
Oh,
And then I
wow.
found out what the money actually goes to. And it's a long story, but I was really upset about it. So I opened my own organization called New Orleans Fairy Tales. And every penny that I raised from my dog calendar went directly to the dogs, plus other personal money of mine, because there's never enough money. But yeah, I rescued myself or helped rescue over 650, and I lost count now because I got disenchanted with the whole thing because people are making dog rescue a warm and fuzzy thing.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's good-hearted to say that rescue dogs are the best dogs, but
Yeah.
to me, it's the most repulsive comment because that's like saying abused children are the best children. We've
Yeah.
got to stop making rescue warm and fuzzy, and we have to start guilting people into not backyard breeding, because even with hundreds of rescue organizations here in New Orleans, we still put down 90,000 dogs a year. That's insane. That
Wow.
means that people just don't care, and everybody wants to have one litter so they can keep one puppy. Well, what happens to the other puppies? And why do your dog have to have one litter? There's absolutely no reason a dog has to have one litter. And everybody thinks their dog is that special that they have to have their dog's puppy. Well, there's all these dogs out there that are being, put down or
Mm-hmm.
live in horrific situations. And it's ridiculous. They should be treasured from the minute they're born. So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out a way to communicate that better, because, I couldn't even rescue anymore because it was the people that were getting on my nerves. So
Yeah.
now I just do it. I get the ones that fall through the cracks. Some people will contact me, but I find some on my own, like my neighborhood. All the stray dogs are out of my neighborhood where I live, and I really don't enjoy it anymore. It's gratifying, of course, when you find a great home for a dog, but it's all the
Mm-hmm.
things you go through. And I've kept the ones that I couldn't adopt out,
Yeah.
and I mean, of course, I love them tremendously, and I think they're amazing dogs, but they all have issues, and serious issues, to where I can't take them where I'd like to take them, on outings and stuff. And the next dog we get, I really want to get as a puppy, and just have a little bit of calmness in my life, because I mean, we're always on, because I rescue German Shepherds primarily, and
Mm-hmm.
so it keeps you on edge. Like, you can't be around and just relax. I've
It,
got to worry about them biting somebody, and because they've been tortured. I mean, there's a good reason for it, and they've
I
gotten a lot
know.
better. If you come to my house and I introduce you, you're fine, but I can't just take them to a dog park or anything like that. So
Yeah, we had that when I was growing up. Because I'm a turtle person, as you know. At one point when I was a kid, we had about five because we rescued them. And so we rescued them. And one of them I'll never forget. I called her Hydra because I really liked the name. And it took us, I don't know what they'd done to her, but it took us about 5 years for her to stop attacking or biting us anytime you tried to go near her. And it took a long time. And over the years, we've had other ones that, and it's just because you don't know what people have done.
right.
So,
You have to have a
yeah.
lot of patience, and I do, and I'm, like I said, I'm so happy that I've rescued the dogs that I have. And the one that we kept, Vilma, she just passed away. She was 15.
Oh,
She was tied to a tree so she could only sit and never lie down. He beat
oh,
her constantly, and she was so like she wanted to get away so bad. She was only 2 years old when I got her, and she had no canines left because she kept trying to chew her way away from them.
oh,
The only water she got was from sprinklers or if it rained, and so she
yeah.
took 3 days to teach her how to drink out of a bowl. I mean, it was just, and I couldn't touch her butt for about 6 months, and then later on, it was so fun to be able to, give her little booty pats, and I mean, it was really fun watching her come into her
How they
own.
change. Yeah.
I just hate that she ever had to go through that. It's just devastating. But
Yeah.
anyway, and we have
Well,
one now that's a great dog that they were going to put down at 6 months old at the SPCA. I mean, they said he was aggressive, and there is no such thing as a 6-month-old aggressive dog. Like, I don't know, but
anyway, I'm glad that you've helped that many, because that's ones that wouldn't have been helped. So, um, and I guess, do you have any advice for businesses right now that we're still in a pandemic? We've been going through this for so long. And I know you've made it through pretty successfully, like the fact that you've opened your cafe during it. Plus you've been creating more of an online presence because you've had your mystery boxes, which are amazing. How have you adapt your business models to make it through at this point and keep kind of going on? Because the pandemic's obviously not going away anytime soon.
Well, and we've been through other things like, Katrina, the hurricanes, and that always stops our business quite a bit because people can't come to the city.
Yeah.
So COVID, I don't think I've ever worked harder than when COVID hit because I was actually terrified. I was afraid for our health and our livelihood. And so that was a really, fortunate situation to be in, obviously, for a lot of people. So I thought about the only thing I could do is make our website successful. And we never really focused on it that much. So that's from 8 o'clock in the morning till midnight, almost every single day. One of my employees, Kim, came up with the idea of the mystery boxes, and they were extremely successful. But I spent every day working on promoting them through the website. We actually brought our website from doing 1,500 a month to doing 8,000 a month during COVID.
Wow.
And we survived. And then, so that's become another viable business of ours now, where it was just like a side thing, a little lanyard. Now it's the website's become very successful. But I mean, I've closed my shop a couple of times after the different storms, once for 6 months and another time for like 3 months because I had to. And, I knew I would open up again. We kept the website open. And I just feel like I forge ahead because I know we built up such a nice presence now in the community, and we have we're a destination for sure. So I guess my advice is, you definitely have to have a vision, and you really have to think about how you make your customers feel. It's the feeling of the things you have, and depending on what your business is. With a gift shop, that's what you have to go for. Is again, it's like a mystical experience happening on this little vampire shop in this little street. And then you walk in, and then we also tell you about a little speakeasy. And it's like, what, and then now you can go to the cafe. And so I just think about what would make people happy. And that's how I develop products. And I guess that would be the best advice is like, what do people, what makes them feel magical and happy.
Okay, cool. And with all the projects over the years, everything that you've done and that you've worked on, is there something for you that has the most meaning, like a labor of love, if you will? Which one is are you most proud of?
You know what?
No, thank you.
I'm sorry. You're gonna have to say that one more time.
That's okay. I know it's really loud there.
The very last part.
Basically, which project over the years has the most meaning for you, like a labor of love? Which one are you the most proud of?
Well, there's one thing we do, they're lesson boxes, and it took me a long time to create it. I wanted something, again, like people walk in, they find like artifacts in our shop or things that, are kind of like ancient vampire stuff. And so I created something called the lesson box that has been around or in the vampire community for centuries. And so you have to be drawn to the right one, and they're sealed. You can't open it until you buy it. We register it, and we actually contact you a year after you've purchased it to remind you to open a second letter that's in the box. It teaches you patience. It teaches you how to build wealth. There's a lot of insight. And so if you actually follow the different things in the box that took us like so long to create, then it really will enrich your life. And we've had people come back with their box just to show us all the things they've added to it. And that means a lot to me. So that's probably my favorite product that we have. That and the candles. We have our candles too, and we've had those since day one.
Yeah.
We make them all, and they have charms inside, and each charm will mean something to you when you see it because we choose the right candle for you. And those are really magical also.
Oh, you're making me want to come there.
You have to come.
I know at some point, like I've made it down to Texas, but that's about furthest I've made it down there. So yeah, it is on my list at some point too. So good. Yes, I will hit you up when we go there. And I guess, can you tell us a fun fact that no one knows about you? Is there something really cool you can think of?
Well, it's not that nobody knows it about me, but in the back of my book, The Vampire, I wrote my one vampire experience. So, everybody else asked me, do you believe in vampires, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I really love the creature. And we all say that every culture has a vampire creature in it. So it is fascinating that there is that history. Anyway, one night I was working at the shop late. My husband used to work till 4 a.m. And so I was making candles late at night, and it was, no, I'm sorry, it wasn't that late. It was about 7 o'clock at night. It's just after that. It's going on a different story. And all of a sudden, so my first shop was really stupid, but I couldn't find a place, and I just was anxious to open, and it was the worst possible design. You had to walk through a long carriageway. It was in the middle of a block between Bourbon and Royal Street. You had to walk down a long carriageway, and at the back of the carriageway was a huge mirror. And then, and we always said that was so that we could see if somebody was a vampire, or not coming in. So then you had to make a right to get into the shop. So my dog, my German Shepherd Elka, used to work with me every night. And she would lie down, and if she sat up, I knew somebody walked in because I couldn't see. I was around the corner making candles in the kitchens. So one night she started growling, and not ever did she do that. And so I just started going, I'm like, and I could hear a man walk in that was walking with a cane. You absolutely hear it, that was a man walking in with a cane. So I was just pouring wax, and I said, I'll be right there. Just give me 1 second. I'm pouring the last of this candle. And she was just going on and on with this growling. And so I was so embarrassed, I couldn't wait to get out there. So I come around the corner, and I put my hand on her, and I could feel her vibrating, and she wouldn't stop. And the man was very attractive. He was thin, dressed impeccably, like in tailored clothes, not dressed like a tour guide, dressed like a vampire. He was dressed just in nice, like tailored slacks, a nice shirt, and he had a beautiful cane, and he was very attractive, short, like salt and pepper hair, probably in his late 40s, and he had a Romanian accent. And I tried to make it Greek and Italian, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, no, that was a Romanian accent. Anyway, so he said, when people walk in, I greet them, and I would say, most of the things in here are made by local artists, and we make our candles here, and all of our books are signed by the authors. And he completely ignored me, and he was making me nervous, and I don't get nervous. And I think part of it was my dog growling into my hand, but it was weird. And so then all of a sudden he looks at me and he says, do you have the history of the vampire? And I said, no, because we only have books that are signed by the authors, but that's a good idea. I need to look into that, And then he says, I know people who would be very interested in this. And made him smile. And I said, oh, and that's nice. And then he just looked around a little bit more, and then he walked out. He didn't even say goodbye or anything. And I was like, he just exuded vampire, and it was so strange. So when he walked out, I sat down like immediately and sat in the chair, and I said to my dog out loud, I said, that was weird. And then my husband is 6'6", and he walks with purpose. So I saw him walking out of peripheral vision. We had 3 long windows on the front side of the building. And so I'm like, oh, good, because he's going to see this guy, because the guy was just walking out of the carriageway. Like, happened that quick. Like, he walked out, my husband's walking this way, I sat down. So I stand up, and my husband walks in, and I go, hey, that was so weird, that guy that just left here. He goes, what guy? I go, the guy that just walked out of the carriageway. He goes, nobody just walked out of the carriageway. I go, Steve, the guy who just walked out with the cane. And I ran out, and we were in the middle of the block. There was nobody around, and there was nowhere else to go. Nowhere else to go. So ever since that happened, like whenever I work at the shop late at night by myself, literally the hair on my neck stands up, because I know for a fact I'm gonna see that man again, and I know he's gonna come in when I'm by myself.
But you've never seen him yet again. That was just once, right?
That was 19 years ago.
Wow. Yeah, maybe he'll make an appearance for the 20th anniversary.
That would be nice.
That would be so cool.
Yeah.
And what is the most absurd thing that you love? I like this question. I get a lot of weird answers.
Probably right now it's our little chocolate bats. So we feature Michael from Vampire Wine's Vampire Chocolate in our store, and they're really beautiful dark chocolate and milk chocolate bars. But we got him to make us huge versions of it. And our chef had this idea to melt them down and make little bats, because I've always wanted, like, I don't know how you are, but when you go to a restaurant, after you eat a nice meal, you don't always want dessert, but you want that little something sweet.
Yeah, just a
Glass of
little.
wine or a brandy afterwards. And so they're the perfect size, and they're the cutest little bats. And I'm obsessed with them. Like I really am. They melt in your mouth. They're just like perfect. So I don't know. I just can't think of anything else right now. But yeah, they're on the top of my mind. So I'm obsessed with vampire chocolate bats.
Okay. No, that's cool. That's cool. Tasty things are good. And so we're
And Dexter,
almost,
by the way, and
yeah.
Dexter, the show Dexter.
Did you
I love
watch
it.
the new episode?
Yes, but you can't tell my husband because he never wanted to watch it. And I finally got him to watch it so that we could catch up and watch the new one together. But
Yeah.
we're only in season 3. So he was gone the other night and I could not help myself. And yeah, I love that show. So
I know I was so excited when I PVR it and then I'll just watch all of it at once. And this one, I'm like, no, it's been so long. I want to find out what happened. So yeah, we won't go into that in case he watches this, but no, I was really excited for Dexter too. I liked that show. So we're almost out of time, but everyone, before we basically wrap up today, I want to again remind you guys, give our video a like and subscribe, hit the button below. And make sure to check out our other videos that we have. We actually the other week took a virtual tour of the New Orleans Vampire Cafe. And we also took a tour of Boutique de Vampire. So you can actually see Marita's shop and you can actually see the cafe. So make sure they're on our playlist. Take those, check them out. And otherwise, thank you, Marita, for coming and finally getting to like do this. I know it's taken us a while to arrange this and we had some technical difficulties today, but I'm glad we got to do this.
Fun, though. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been amazing. And thank you to everyone who's been watching from home and keeps watching. This is great. I think this is our 9th episode I've done today. So it's getting there. This is pretty good. And otherwise, thank you. That's it for Morbid Planet tonight. My name's Erin Chapman. Stay safe and stay morbid. Bye for now. Red or like a